Now, welcome to our today's science lesson, that is standard 8. Today is on August 25th, 2020. Now, today we are going to talk about the last part of the topic plants, where we started by discussing the crops, types of crops, then we discussed weeds, and also last time we discussed about adaptation of plants to various environments. Now, today we are going to discuss on now how the plants have different signs of unhealthy plants or unhealthy crops. Now we have those crops that they may appear not normal to us. Maybe we expect them to have a green leaves, but now they have different color of leaves. That one shows that that plant either has a certain disease that is affecting it. Now, today we are going to discuss now how can you realize, or how can you come out with an outcome by saying that this plant is sick or is unhealthy, it's not healthy. Now, number one, we look at the color of the leaves. Now, the color of the leaves, we have different plants which have different color, where we talked about the green plants and non-green plants. Now, if we expect a plant to have a green flower or a green color, that's the leaves of the plant to have a green color, then we may get that now we have that discoloration, where now there is a change in color. Now, when you look, this is similar plants, these are the same plants. Now, this plant here, this flower, the leaf is very green. It is very dark and green. While you look at this one, it has changed the color. Some parts looks reddish and others looks yellowish. Now, when you look at this one means that this plant or this crop here is unhealthy, while this one is healthy. Now, this one brings us to say, when you have a very healthy plant, it must have a very dark and green color, like this one here. Now, that one, we look at the color, that is discoloration of the leaf. While healthy plants, they have dark green color, and healthy plants have yellow. They may have yellow colors, or they may have purple leaves, or they may have orange leaves. Now, if you see any change in color of the leaf, that means that plant is not healthy. Number two, we look at the growth rate. Maybe we expect a plant to have a very faster growth rate, for example in maize, but now you get that now it has a very, what we call a standard growth. The growth is very slow. Now, when a plant exceeds that has a standard growth, that means that plant is not healthy. Now, we have that normal growth, and also we have that what we call abnormal growth, where if the plant we expect it has a certain height, it grows to a certain height, maybe here, but now you get that the plant grows until this side here. Now, if the plant has such abnormality in growth, that say we say that plant is not healthy, it is unhealthy plant. So we look at the standard growth or retarded growth of the plant. Number three, we look at the curled leaves. Now, we expect the leaves of a plant to be very smooth and very flat like this, but now you have those leaves, you may get that now they are curled. They are curled in short, we may say this one, it's not flat, it has some bentings. Now, if the plant has such leaves, it means this plant is not healthy, but it must have a flat and a green leaf like this. This one shows that this plant is healthy. Now, that is under the curled leaves. Now, you look at the shape of the leaf of the plant. If it is curled, it means it is not healthy. But if it is broad, flat and fleshy, it means the plant is healthy. Now, also when you look at unhealthy, we say it is curled, and also in addition of being curled, it is brittle. Brittle, when you look at this part here of this plant, you get that the leaves are not straight, they have some stretches. These stretches means they are brittle. And now when you go to other leaves, you may get that those leaves that are not healthy, they are very hard. When you touch them, they are not soft. For example, if you touch this leaf and touch this one, they have different feelings. This one is hard, while this one is soft and fleshy and very succulent. Now, when you move to another characteristics of the signs of unhealthy plants, we look at the spots or strikes. Now, all leaves, they have specific coloration, they have specific strips. That is, maybe if the leaf has green strips, we expect all the leaf to be green. Now, you may get more so in maize plant, you have some strips. Those strips are either yellow, and also we have the green strips. Now, in maize plant, we expect the maize plant to have green leaf. But now, if you get that there is some plants that have strips that are yellow, this is a sign of being disease. This is a sign of a disease, and this disease is called smut. In maize plant we call it smut, and also it is most in when you go to sugarcane plants, you may also experience smut as a disease of maize. Now, we have spots and strikes. That is spots. For example, when you look at this leaf here, it has some parts which are green. They are still green, but also it has some spots that are yellow. Now those are the spots we are talking about. But when you talk of the strikes, this one here, you may get that it has some stripes here. Maybe this one is black, this one is green, this one is yellow. Now those strips that are different in colors, that means that the plant is unhealthy, it is not healthy. We expect a plant that is healthy to have a pure green color, or if it is non-green, we expect it to have a specific color that is one color of that crop. Now we move to wilting. Now, wilting is also a sign of an healthy plant. What is wilting? Wilting, we expect wilting of plants either drying, the plants may dry up, that's the leaves of the plant may dry up, or also we may have what we call the plants having looking very weak. Now, you may go to your field of plants, either maize plants or bean plants, but now you get some other plants, others are just strong and straight, but now you experience others are short, but now they look very weak. They are drying up. If these plants are drying up, either they have been eaten by a certain pest, or they have a disease that is affecting it. Now this plant here, it's looking very healthy, while the one that is very strong and fleshy, it is very healthy. Now that is what, when you experience that, this is wilting, and this wilting mainly causes what we call the falling off of leaves. You may get a plant having falling off, when the leaves are falling off. This one is what we call now the wilting. This one leads to drying of a plant and hence causing death of the plants. Now that is under the signs of unhealthy crop. Now we move, after having the signs of these healthy crops, we have now the effects of that diseases that either to the human being or to the consumer, or it may have effects to the nation. Now, number one, the first effect of diseases, number one, it lowers the yield. While we were discussing pests, we said that pests leads to decrease in the yield or the quantity of the plant or the produce. Now when we talk of low yield, when we expected one acre to give us 10 kg, when you expect one acre to give us maybe 10 sacks of maize, but now at the end of the day you get 5 bags of maize. This one means there is low in yield, there is a decrease in the amount of crop produce. Now that is lowering the yield. Now when we move to reduce quality, it reduces the quality. Now for example, in sugarcane plant we expect sugar to have a very strong concentrated sugar inside it, but now you may get a plant having very watery, it is not sweet, or it is salty, it may be salty. Now we expect the plant to have sugar inside it, but at the end of the day we get the quality or the quantity, the quality of the crop having very salty inside it. This one means there is that reduction in the amount of sugarcane, hence reducing the quality of that plant. Now if we expect the plant to be salty, we have to get the saltness, the concentrated salt in it. But now if we get the amount of salt is very low, that one is the reduction in the quality. Number three, we have the effect, another effect is the reduction in the income. Now when income, it means to the person who plants that crop. If you plant a maize crop and you expect it to get 10 bags of maize, and at the end of the day you get 3 bags of maize, this means now you have reduced your income. If you sell your maize bags at 2,500, and at the end of the day you expected 10 but you get 5, it means you have reduced your income to a very low income. And also this one affects the nation, because if the plant is used to be exported to other countries, it means there is a reduction in the foreign exchange, because if you sell the plants at a very low amount, that means there is a reduction in foreign exchange. Number 4, the effects number 4 of diseases in crop, there is now the spread of diseases to the consumers. Consumers, we say they are either animals, they are all animals, and other consumers, we say there are primary, secondary, and also we have tertiary. Now there is that spread of disease. If a maize plant have a disease, but now you harvest together with that disease, then you store it somewhere, it means if somebody feeds directly on that crop, it means there is that spread of disease from the crop to the consumers. Now, that is the end of the topic plants. But now here we are going to also to talk about the summary now. In summary, when you talk about plants as a topic in primary level, you have to understand the following. Number one, we started by discussing crops. You must understand the crop definition of a crop, the types of the crop, and examples of each type. We said examples of a crop are a food crop and also cash crop. We gave out the examples, you have them. Number two, you have to understand weeds, examples of weeds, definition of weeds, and the characteristics of specific types of weeds. Number three, under still plants, you must understand the methods of controlling weeds. We gave out the method of controlling weeds, for example, being uprooting, slashing, we have digging, by use of chemical, by use of mulching. So you must understand all of it. Then we also moved to classification of plants. Still on plants, you have to understand very well how the plants are classified, how plants are classified in different groups. We said we classify plants according to their they are either green or non-green. And considering green or non-green, we said you look at the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll, we said, is the green pigments of the leaf, the plant. You can also classify plants, we said you can classify them as flowering or non-flowering. This is just a summary, we discussed it already, but now I'm summarizing up because this is the end of this topic. Now, we have also the function. We discussed the function of the external part of the plant. We have to understand the root and its function, the stem and its function, the leaves and its function, flowers and its function, and also the fruits, seeds, and their own specific functions. Also, still on plants, you have to understand the part of reproduction. We discussed reproduction when we discussed a flower, the parts of a flower, the function of those parts of a flower, and also how fertilization takes place in that flower. We talked of pollination, that's all on plants. We talked of the types of pollination, where we discussed the cross-pollination, we discussed self-pollination, and also how it is the agents of the pollination. We discussed the agents of pollination, and also you have to understand all the agents of pollination. We also discussed fertilization in plants. We talked of where fertilization takes place, what is the male part of the plant, what is the female part of the plant. So you have also to understand very well the functions of that parts of the plant. The second thing, or the second part of it, we talked about interdependency in plants. Interdependency, this is where we say the plants depending on each other on various ways. Now we talked of interdependency between plants and plants, animals and animals, animals and plants to animals. You must understand all of them. Next, we talked about the food chain. We discussed food chain, and also we discussed what we call the food pyramid. You must understand that part very well. And also we talked about the crop pest, the types of pest and their various effects. So you have to understand them, go through them, and get well updated with them. Then we also talked about, last time we talked about the adaptation of the plants to various environments or various climatic zones, where we talked of the wet zones. We have those that are wet, we have the dry areas, and we have the normal areas. Normal areas where we talked of normal soil and normal temperature. And lastly now, you have to understand where we have discussed today the signs of unhealthy crop. Now that is all about plants. Now this is, you have to understand all the plants parts because it's very serious, it's very demanding in exam. You may get many questions coming on this topic. Now this is all about today's discussion. Next time inshallah we are going to introduce another topic where inshallah we will start animals. We are going to talk about animals during our next topics. Thank you very much. Let's meet next time inshallah.